All right, so we're most likely back here. Once again, I'm Scott. I'm joined by Makiri and Fishy.
Hey,
Makiri's the boy. The name is misleading. We have
yeah,
the
you
team
can call
preview
me
here.
Paul.
Okay, Makiri. Paul. Anyway, we have the team previews here. Aaron is using a team that's based on his international team with Thunderous T, Landorus T, Palitoad, Kingdra, Scissor, and then in the spot that had Hitmontop before, he's using Latias now. And his opponent here has Latios, Hitmontop, Raikou, the best Pokemon, Ferrothorn, Volcarona, and Gastrodon. Allison's favorite Pokemon. And also
Yeah,
Hitmontop, the Pokemon that we all named after Makiri in 2010. So
that's
clearly Aaron should lose. Sorry.
yeah. I think either way, I win. Sponsor versus my Pokemon.
Yeah, kind of interesting team on the other side here. I mean, Aaron is using mostly vanilla stuff, other than Latias, which should be fun. Curious what that'll look like. We hadn't really seen one in competitive play prior to, I guess, the last Korean friendly where we saw that light screen reflect swagger variant. Um, but Aaron's other stuff's pretty standard. And then here we've got Raikou, who we pretty much never see, and I guess some more niche Pokemon like Gastrodon and Ferrothorn. What do you guys think about the team previews here?
I think it kind of favors Aaron's opponent here. He's got two anti-rain things, and then he's got the Latios, the Volcarona can all threaten most of Aaron's team. Aaron's gonna have to bank on that Kingdra doing some work here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like the matchup that much for him. Like, I would be scared if I was using a rain themed team against that. I mean, Aaron does have some nice like non-rain
If you can
options.
hear me, I'm gonna restart my computer really quick because everything is failing for some reason. So I will be right back.
Alrighty.
That's
R.I.P.
what you get
Fishy.
with Max.
Well, so shockingly, the Mac user is gone. But don't worry, Paul and I have Windows computers. We'll be here with you throughout the evening.
Windows 7.
Oh yeah. Aaron leading Scissor and Latias here, which is yellow and disgusting. And we see Gastrodon and Raikou, the best Pokemon from his opponent.
Yeah, Aaron doesn't really have any taste here. That Latias is kind of disgusting.
The Scissor's even worse. Like, I don't know, there are a bunch of ugly yellow shinies out here, so I think that Gastrodon will win because it isn't yellow.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. You look good, you win.
Ain't that the truth? I guess it'll be interesting to see. It's hard to know who really has the advantage here without knowing a bit more about the Pokemon. Presumably, Aaron is using his traditional Swords Dance, Steel Gem BS Scissor, since that's the only Scissor he ever uses. I don't know if his Latias is a screen variant where he'd want to get Light Scream up against these two special Pokemon. I don't know what kind of Raikou this is. I've seen specs before. I've seen dual screens, so I guess without seeing more here, it's hard to anticipate too much. This would be a fun turn one to play from either side because not a whole lot of obvious information, so you get to have a little more fun with it and go with your gut. Probably both sides will play safe.
The Raikou is kind of a not very used Pokemon, so it can throw out some different options here that we probably aren't used to seeing.
It's a wild card.
I hope Raikou's critical hit Hyper Beam and kills everything.
I hope it uses Weather Ball for some reason.
Quick Call Rain Dance Weather Ball. Let's do this. I believe.
It's shiny. Maybe it's Rash and it has Weather Ball.
Let's do it. What else could it have? I don't remember. Aura Sphere, which would be really bad here. Extreme Speed, which would be really bad here. Do it anyway, Raikou. I believe in you.
It takes the safe switch.
Just do whatever you feel like.
So we do see light screen from Latias here, so likely clay dual screen.
Yes, I love the clay.
Really good against the three Pokemon we've seen here. Three special Pokemon we've seen, and all of them will be neutered by light screen here. Scissor gets the free Swords Dance, but not going to be as easy to exploit it as he might have hoped with Volcarona coming in. And Gastrodon...
Oh, Wi-Fi wins.
Wi-Fi with what is that, 4? Oh, it's going crazy. I don't think anyone can keep up with this. At least at this time, it'll be easy turn for them to remake if they choose to do so. Aaron in a pretty good position there with all those special Pokemon against Light Screen. Obviously, Volcarona is going to scare Scissor out probably, but looks like it'll be tricky for his opponent to do a lot of real damage.
Isn't it all possible for Scissor to survive under Light Screen from a fire move? Maybe if he's built that way, maybe.
I mean, I doubt it because you'd need Akka to do it normally, and Light Screen's only 33%. But unless he's using Akka, which would be the most un-Aaron-like of decisions. But he doesn't rain, so if he switched in Toad, I'm sure with both rain and Light Screen active, he would survive.
Oh yeah, he'd be fine. That's true.
I imagine that was what Aaron was going to do, but they're probably going to remake this, and we'll see what goes from there.
Yeah, I missed team preview in lieu of computer issues.
Take a moment to appreciate that real-life events are in real life and don't involve Wi-Fi.
They just involve blocking the infrared reader, which I was so paranoid I was doing half the time with all my charms.
Did anyone else have a huge amount of issues at regionals getting the things to connect? I don't know if it's just that more people have 3DSs now or what, but every battle it was not wanting to connect.
I had one match in Florida where I was battling this girl, I think round 4 or 5, and she would always pick up her DS to make a move and then put it back down. And I was so frustrated that she was going to make it disconnect.
Yeah, that's what I kept running into. People would pick up their DSs and just assume it would keep playing, but you need that IR connection throughout the game.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like, stop doing that, you shouldn't be doing that, stupid.
Well, just let them do it. Then you can be that person. Excuse me, judge. That was their fault. This is my win.
Excuse me,
my win.
Judge, official.
Could
I
you
was following the rules.
It's me, Alison McDonald. I won. So if you could circle the 1 here.
You can just
circle 1.
You can just give me a free win on top of the rounds for tolerating this.
As you see, I guess the same leads there. So okay, yeah, they're gonna try and remake, which makes sense given that they were a very deep 1 turn into the game. Yes, we talked about this a bit before, but I guess it'll be interesting to see if Aaron has Toad or not to try and trickily survive Volcarona or not, and if he does so, if his opponent will anticipate it and double Scissor. And hopefully Raikou will come back and kill everyone later, because that's what I want to happen here.
I really hope so.
Yeah, everybody loves that Raikou.
It's shiny. There's such a good chance it has Weather Ball.
Have to admit, not really a big fan of the shiny Raikou, but I think you got to use it right now just to bluff the promo, even if you're not playing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got to put doubt in your opponent's mind, Might as well have as many possibilities as possible.
Yeah, that's how you play the game. You gotta get into your opponent's head and just, trick them.
Use trick on everything.
Really sad
I
that
didn't mean literally.
Because I'm really sad that our name tabs are too short for Aaron's sponsorship to be denoted here. But you all should know that he is in fact Z-Wing Cybertron, not just Cybertron, as he is a sponsored player.
Yeah, get on that, producer.
We're talking about it among the players, just so the audience knows, whether or not we wanted to keep doing the best of 3 or just to do best of 1, since the connections are having trouble. We are going to continue trying to do best of 3 for now. If Wi-Fi keeps being Wi-Fi, we might change our mind later, but...
So Scissor protects, there's no Toad switch in, and Latias Draco's the Volcarona for a little over half.
Not too bad there. I assume that puts it into bullet punch range.
If he has a gem,
Yeah, gem and
Yeah.
+2, I think that's a KO.
Yeah,
And this
most
is
likely.
why. So this is why I love Aaron using that scissor, because can always find ways to make things work for him.
Yeah, he's a particular player where he probably knows his calcs better than, oh, say, Enosh. Um, but yeah, it's like preparing for not very effective bullet punches to take out things, or just not very effective moves in general from that scissor to finish the job just with the help of Swords Dance and the first turn gem use. It's kind of it's scary because he always knows something that you don't most of the time.
Yeah, that's the strength of using the same Pokemon a lot. You learn to understand what their damage ranges can be, and you'll know a lot more than your opponent will.
It's probably why
Yeah.
I can't stay away from Gastrodon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing I like in general, just kind of like players who kind of develop their trademark Pokemon. I mean, most of us don't play enough games to like have every calc perfectly, memorized and eyeballed. So I guess it's an advantage sometimes to use the stuff you're really familiar with, especially in real life where your opponent doesn't know that they're going to be playing you ahead of time and can't plan for you individually quite as much.
Aaron's opponent thinking this turn out, seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the threat of even without the gem, with between Latias being faster and being able to meteor again and bullet punch, like he knows he's at least being threatened a little bit here. And Latias is still high enough HP to survive another ice beam, which credit to how bulky it is. And
Oh,
I
that's
guess we
not
do see
good
the
for
BP.
Aaron.
Oh, Flame Body.
Yeah. Oh, flame body.
The thing is, though, this just puts him back to a neutral level for attack since he had a Swords Dance, but it's still annoying because he's going to deplete his health little by little each turn.
Yeah, and obviously losing the boost sucks, but at least he does hilariously kill Volcarona with Scissor, which I'm always a fan of. And Latias gets the second screen up. I guess we'll see real soon here if there is actually a physical Pokemon to block. But
Can't hurt to throw it up.
yeah, I'm pretty impressed by the Latias in general. I mean, seeing how bulky it is and getting both screens up pretty safely and doing the damage to Volcarona to help Scissor out. It's definitely done its job this game. I think Latias is really good. Maybe the single most underappreciated Pokemon.
Yeah, Big Brother Latios always outshines it, but Latios always finds a way to fit into a metagame.
That's what I really like about if he, in fact, does have Light Clay with the dual screens, is that even after you get a Draco Meteor off, they think you're not going to do much else, and then you put up a 7-turn screen and they're like, oh, you've still got plans.
Yeah, I mean, especially with VGC games not lasting too much longer than 7 turns usually. I mean, it's a lot of damage reduction if you have a team that can abuse it, and I think it's a good fit for Aaron here. Like, I don't know if I like the team as a whole that much right now, but I think these two Pokemon have really fun synergy because, like, Scissor isn't that bulky, but not super frail, but it's much more likely to successfully get Swords Dance off and maybe able to take another hit or two with the screens up. So they play really nicely together. I
Yeah,
like
it's a
this as a core.
partner.
Raikou back.
Aaron's opponent taking his time again.
I mean, as he should be. I mean, obviously he's kind of on his back foot here. Little better situation here because Latias isn't very threatening and Scissor's done to effectively +0. And obviously slower than Raikou here, so much better situation for him than it was before.
Well, Gastrodon chunks Scissor pretty well with Earth Power, and with another Earth Power and then the burn, it might take Scissor out, but I feel like he would survive with a slight sliver of health. So I'm not sure what Raikou's going to do with Latias down 2 and having set up 2 screens.
I'm curious what the Raikou's having still too. Like, eager to see this move set. Hard to
I feel like we're
anticipate.
going to see a Thunderbolt on that Scizor.
Yeah, that was my first thought too, is just split attacks, but and there it is.
I call
Gold
my
star.
shots. It didn't do much.
I mean, I guess that backs up the prediction. I would suspect that it is a dual screen variant, although maybe not since it is air balloon. So, but you'd assume that there is some gimmick there because that is not a very heavily offensively invested Raikou, and wow, it did nothing, or not nothing. It did a lot.
Yeah, that
The
did a
opposite of
lot
nothing.
of damage to that Gastrodon.
Not my Rindo.
Gastrodon gets the return KO there, but Hard to be too upset if you're Aaron there. Scissor kills a Pokemon, and I guess a full Pokemon worth of damage since Latias did the rest. But still solid.
I feel like you should get Latias out of there.
I mean, maybe, but I guess with Landorus in here, he probably, like, between Earthquake and Draco Meteor, he probably can just pick them both up if he doesn't protect, so still has pressure.
Yeah, I think we're
I
going to
got
see.
rid of the air balloon.
See, Latias finding ways to contribute, I guess. It's good to get rid of that air balloon. So even with the special attack dropped, it still helps move him forward here.
He already got rid of the air balloon, so I mean, Latias doesn't even need to be out here, but I guess it's just for the extra damage.
Yeah, it depends on what his last is, too, because if he does want an Earthquake, he may want to keep it out if his last Pokemon isn't Earthquake immune.
Well, the rest of his team, well, barring Thundurus, can't really take the earthquakes.
Yeah, so I mean, Latias helps out there, too. It's another nice synergy in this team, always. When you're using an Earthquake happy Pokemon like Landorus, it's good to have as many Levitators as you can. Latias. Helping everyone.
He still has Reflect up, so he can be less afraid of Earthquaking with a partner.
I guess we haven't seen the last Pokemon on his opponent's side, though, so
No, we're going to
doesn't
see
want to
it
be too crazy. There it is. We found it.
I don't mind that Pokemon.
Yeah. So Ferrothorn coming in here, definitely a good fit for this last slot here.
Love Ferrothorn.
So take some free earthquake damage here. I guess we do learn that. I guess not really learn because we've seen the team before, but we do know that Landorus is not scarfed since it moved after Latias.
Wow, that did a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's probably a more specially or defensive oriented Ferrothorn to be a rain counter here.
Man,
Which
I love...
makes sense since Aaron is running rain, so why wouldn't you pick it against that?
Man, I love just splitting my defenses on Ferrothorn and HP, so everything hits 172. Even if it's not the most practical, I just love all three stats being the same.
You can't really do that very often.
OCD +++.
Yeah, that Ferrothorn didn't take that Earthquake very well, so this Landorus
And it
is
didn't
going to
have
be...
leftovers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if it's like Chopal, maybe Citrus, which I don't think we've seen yet. I mean, we know Latias isn't gonna be able to do much here, so at least it's a turn where Ferrothorn should know it can survive and get a Leech Seed off if it wants to.
It better. It has no better option.
It's actually gonna use Choice Band Power Whip and kill everyone.
It's an option. I mean, we don't know its item yet. And Aaron's taking his time. Can't decide what to do with his Latias.
It's kind of one of those awkward positions where it's not really doing anything, but it's probably not very safe for him to test the waters with whatever his lapse is. So I would assume it's something
he's probably
like...
waiting for it to die. Like, it's done its job. It chunked Volcarona, so Scissor could take it out with a +2 bullet punch. It broke a balloon. It set both screens up. So it's probably pretty happy with how it's performed thus far.
Yeah, I'd assume his last is Thunderous T, so he probably doesn't want to switch into an Ice Beam for free. Instead, it does the... Actually, I like that because I don't know that Earthquake calc, and likely he doesn't either, so just make sure he gets that KO with the Psychic or Psyshock there. Kind of still helping. It does just attack.
Jeez.
That's
Well, he still does have Raikou on the back, and it could pose a threat to that Landorus.
Yeah, I mean, if it is Hidden Power Ice, or probably Hidden Power Water at this rate, could finish it off, but interesting for the Serathon here. I guess you don't expect it to attack straight up like that. I'd be interested in seeing more of what it has there. That's not maybe the most efficient way to use Ferrothorn, but I guess we've got another game at least to see how what he's doing there, because at least not what we're used to with it.
Yeah, still no idea on his item. It's obviously not Citrus now, and I think Choice Band would have done more.
Yeah, me too. I was just wondering if I wasn't right by accident there, but once I saw the damage roll, I was like, probably not.
I just find it odd that a Ferrothorn would choose to attack knowing there's a reflect up when it would obviously survive another earthquake and not fear anything Latias had. So Leech Seed would have been helpful.
I imagine
Yeah,
you probably wanted the damage for the Raikou to take out the Landorus.
I mean, I would
mean,
hope.
yeah.
Like
That's really the only reason why, or the only good reason why he should attack.
So we haven't seen too much of Raikou still. Like I remember we saw the Thunderbolt calc and it seemed really low, so probably not super offensively designed. But it could still, as long as it has HP Ice, it'd get the kill there, assuming it's faster. And I don't think Aaron's Landorus is super fast because he's got, I don't know. I guess he'd have to be a pretty slow Raikou to be under it at any rate.
Yeah, Raikou's base 115, I believe, so
Yeah, it is.
probably should outspeed that Landorus.
Oh, it definitely would. So long as it's timid, or even modest. As long as it's max speed.
Alright, so I was right here, and the last Pokemon for Aaron is Thunderous T. And we see Protect from Raikou, so likely not HP Ice then. What?
Good move by Aaron, I guess.
What?
I'm
What
not
is
sure I
this
get
turn?
this turn.
I don't know if he's just trying to stall turns of screens or what, but what?
Stalling on screens doesn't matter if you're going to be dead. But yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure what question mark. I mean, it's a rough spot for him, so I mean, I don't know if there's too much he could have done there that would have mattered, but other than
I feel
stalling
like-
out a turn of streams, there's no way for that to have moved him forward.
I feel like they're both afraid of where they fall in the speed. Like, he's not sure how fast Raikou could be, he's not sure how fast Landorus could be. Although now, Landorus was only earthquaking before, right? So
Yeah.
he could have maybe thought he was choice locked, but now he's obviously not. So
I know he was using Sash before. Don't know if he still is, but Snarl Cow, yes, I love this move. I don't love it in this situation, but
Yeah, this is a terrible
Yeah.
situation.
because Landorus is about to kill everyone. But it's a great move that I think more people should use when you're not fighting Landorus T.
Snarl is amazing to use when there's two special attackers out.
And Earthquake here will easily clean up poor Raikou. I do love Snarl. I've run it on specs before, and that's a nice combination of disruption and damage, but presumably no like hidden power, ice, water, etc. option there to do reasonable Landorus damage. So not much you could do there, but take the loss. It's
What if
interesting
it does
Pokemon
have Weather
choices.
Ball?
Yeah, I unfortunately was not impressed with the Raikou there.
Yeah, I mean maybe we'll see more from it in game two. Maybe he'll switch things up. Pretty convincing victory for Aaron there, but guess both players get some information from this game, so maybe the next game will be a little tighter as they understand what they're doing a little better. I think one thing that may have helped Aaron there is his opponent likely just assumed that Aaron would run the rain mode, but he just uses a decoy there. There's a lot of rain counters against him, like Raikou would have been really disruptive against rain. Ferrothorn, which looked like it was more specially based, would have been really disruptive against rain. Gastrodon, obviously, like he has a lot of great anti-rain Pokemon, but he didn't get the rain Pokemon to counter there.
That's
Yeah,
what's
that was a
really
really
scary
heavy-
about rain.
Yeah, heavy anti-rain, and obviously none of the rain stuff came out, so I'm curious to see what his opponent does here to switch it up.
Yeah, I love the mind game here because now it's like if you're against, like Aaron's in a nice spot because he can maybe his opponent, let's assume he won't use rain again, which I think would be the smartest move, and he can mess with him by bringing out the rain anyway. Or he can do what he has again, or did last game again, and see if his opponent can stop it. Like either way, he's in a pretty good spot there.
The thing that's so annoying about Rain is that you could just Polytoad and Kingdra, just those two is enough of a threatening mode that you have to have a counter. But then you still have four other open slots to sort of uh, like psych out your opponent for what you're actually going to bring. And if someone brings all their Rain counters and you bring all your Rain counters, then oops.
Yeah, I think that's part of why competitive Rain kind of just looks like Palatoad Kingdra, XXXX, rather than, like, I guess, like a more like Rain themed team where all 6 Pokemon or like 3 or 4 get involved. I think it's most dangerous, like how Aaron's using it here, where like you have the Rain mode and 2 Pokemon are all you need usually for it to be very effective. But you still have an effective way to fight without it, so that you can play that sort of game. Like you're not super predictable, but you're kind of forcing your opponent's hand by bringing the counters, or by forcing them to bring their counters.
Yeah, it's a strong enough threat to, really put doubt in your opponent's mind. And obviously, I think we're going to see what his opponent does here with regards to bringing the anti-rain.
I think one thing I'm noticing on Team Preview 2, I'm looking at his team, is he doesn't have very strong of a physical offense. So if Aaron can just get his light screen up again, it's tough for him to do a whole lot. Like, I mean, Latios and Volcarona are both going to punish Latias really hard for trying to use light screen. But like, other than that, I mean, Hitmontop is a sole physical attacker and, I guess, offensive-looking Ferrothorn. Not the most, threatening things in the world. So, I mean, if he can get light screen up pretty cleanly again, it's going to be really tough for his opponent to do real damage.
Yeah, I can't imagine Aaron not getting a light screen up here. It's going to take some creative Mon choices from his opponent.
Like I said, for those of you who aren't, or who didn't see the previous game, Aaron's still using a variant on his invitational team, which is a Thundurus T, Landorus T, Scissor, and Latias, who were in the previous game, and then Palatoad and Kingdra, who were not in the previous game. Guess we saw some interesting tricks last game, too, to catch people up. Aaron won, largely on the back of his Scissor, which is still Swords Dance Steel Gem. But his dual screen Latias, which must have Light Clay because it lasted enough turns, did a lot of work there. That's one thing the Koreans used on us in the previous friendly, so I guess we're borrowing from them, which is part of what I love about these things. Like, I wish we get to do this more, and I'm glad that we're doing another one fairly quickly after the last one, is to kind of like get ideas going back and forth. Because, I mean, it's tough for like any one group of players to think of everything because there's so many options in this game. So, I mean, it's really cool to see some great ideas that our opponents had last time, and I think we've tried a lot of the stuff that they used. Like, I think we really respect the Korean team, and even though like we won more games last time, we thought they had some really good ideas we've tried out.
Yeah, I really liked a lot of their ideas in the last friendly. They just needed a little better execution. And, the back and forth friendlies, you'll see evolution of some of those ideas, and may eventually turn into a world's winning team. You never know.
That's probably my favorite thing about the friendlies. At least personally, I sort of force myself to use stuff I'm not familiar with. Primarily because you have to lock your team in, and so it's not like PO or Showdown where you can just quickly edit something you don't like, but it forces you to use something new and actually adapt to the strategy and figure out how to use it best and improve on it later, should you like the team enough.
Looks like we're getting started here. I'll be kind of interested in kind of what both sides do here, whether Aaron brings the rain side this time expecting his opponent not to bring the counters, and the same way if his opponent brings the counters expecting the rain or not. Like, awkward situation here. Always better to be the one up 1-0 at this point.
Yeah, a lot of mind games that are going through their heads right now.
I hate mind games, but they're so good. And Aaron brings hard rain.
Aaron brings the rain.
He is making it rain.
So we see the Raikou again. I guess we learned last game it has Snarl, so it wouldn't be too surprising to see that here.
Well, it had Protect, Thunderbolt, Snarl, and Mystery Move.
Rooting for Weather Ball.
So rooting so hard.
It'll be I would expect that one of Gastron and Ferrothorn at least is in the back, which probably we'll see come in over poor Volcarona here, who doesn't really want to get obliterated by water moves. And Raikou likely going to go for the Snarl here. On Aaron's side, he could try and just helping hand Draco Meteor Raikou and stop the Snarl right away. Now, options for both sides here. Or just, face roll the water moves, which should probably actually still work pretty well for him here.
I mean, he has
Unless he
Muddy
runs
Water.
into a Gastrodon.
The only saving grace with Muddy Water and Surf is that even if a Gastrodon comes in, you're still going to damage the other Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, barring a Protect, obviously. But predictably, Volcarona runs for the hills here. And it is that Gastrodon, so...
Squish, squish, squish.
Thunderous replacing...
Aaron not opting.
Ooh,
Oh, I like that.
give me those electric moves.
See, I mean, Aaron's obviously, he's expecting the Thunderbolt and Politoed here, but instead we get Snarl, like I mentioned previously, which I think would have been the more likely prediction, just because, I mean, we've seen it, it's not very, offensively invested, so not likely to have killed Politoed anyway, but since Kingdra substitute's strong enough to survive the Raikou Snarl, Aaron still winds up in a good spot here. Although Thunderous obviously drops to -1. I don't know, this is part of why I like Snarl a little better on a more offensively invested Raikou, just because you don't get situations like this where you're giving your opponent free turns. But, I mean, at least he did get the -1 on Thunderous, so sort of a wash. And Kingdra can't attack safely without lowering its own special attack since Gastrodon's on the field, so could be worse.
Yeah, they're both in a fairly equal position, so curious to see what his opponent does here with the Raikou again.
Yeah, I mean, it can probably just Snarl spam away here. I'm sure the second one would break the sub if Kingdra decides to stay in and let Gastrodon attack. Which, not likely to do huge damage, but I mean, at least Thunderous would be adequately disrupted there if it doesn't leave on its own.
I feel like the Kingdra could take one more Snarl just based on the damage that Snarl did to Thunderous there.
Maybe. I'm kind of hoping that Aaron has Grass Knot and he just doubles up on the Gastrodon, because that's going to give him the most trouble so far from what his opponent has shown.
I'm
Yeah.
sure a -1 Rindo isn't going to do very much to that Gastrodon.
I mean, he's got. I think she's assuming he'd Meteor as well. But yeah, I mean, that'd be risky. And I do think that the Snarl would get it, because I mean, it's only like, what is that, 37 HP sub? So, I mean, Snarl did like a little over 20 to Thunderous, so I'd expect it to kill.
Yeah, I honestly expect it to, but just based on the damage, it could get a low roll there.
Looks like Kingdra does
Draco
go.
on the Raikou.
Oh, wow, that did a lot.
Jeez.
I'm wondering what this Raikou's EVs look like.
Yeah, those EVs must be kind of silly.
So, I mean, Raikou isn't that specially frail of a Pokemon. That's part of why the Calm Mindset was so good last generation. Or not last generation, but I guess Generation 3 singles, which is 2 now. Getting old. And there is that Grass Knot, which that must be a critical hit. And that's
Oh dear.
almost game ending there with the -1.
Yeah.
So it ignores the stat drop and gets the double damage.
Ignores the berry.
It doesn't care about all those restrictions. It just, I don't know. That's too bad there. I was a little surprised to see Thunderbolt instead of Snarl there, but I guess it doesn't matter much because it would have just crit through -2 instead.
That's fairly unfortunate. I would have liked to not see that crit for a better game, but what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's the game we play. And I mean, I guess that's some of why this team of Aaron's is pretty effective. He's got lots of fast and strong attacks. So, he gets lots of chances to get those, clutch crits, because if he crits with almost anything, it's a free KO. Unless he's firing off really bad resisted attacks.
He's really thinking about this switch in here. I mean, he's got Volcarona and a mystery, but it must be a really big toss-up for him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's a little upset after getting crit there because he was in at least a decent position against -2 Kingdra and -1 Thunderous, and I mean, at least Gastron probably like a little over. She probably would have taken almost nothing between the Rindo and the -1 versus now he loses the Pokemon. He's got Volcarona left against Kingdra and Palitoad, so probably trying to find some way to at least get a couple of Pokemon down here. And it's last Pokemon Ferrothorn here, so he chooses to bring the same 4 he brought the first game. Which I guess is smart, because this time he did get what he was expecting the first time.
Ferrothorn is definitely still going to give Aaron some trouble with the 3 Pokemon he's shown so far.
Yeah, it's still an issue, depending on what Aaron's last is.
I feel like you'd have to bring Scissor.
Yeah, because I mean, it'd be hard for him to get a whole lot done with the Landorus here, just because he has 2 Pokemon that aren't levitating, and I mean, Latias would have been. I mean, the support's always nice, but like, I mean, you'd have to see your own Ferrothorn issues in Team Preview if you pick those 4. So I'd assume it's Scissor last, which I mean, doesn't like fighting Ferrothorn, but thanks to Swords Dance, could definitely do it.
Especially knowing that Ferrothorn doesn't have leftovers would make a fight with Scissor a lot easier to finish.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if it was a more standard Ferrothorn set, he'd be in a slightly more workable position here. But I feel kind of bad, like knowing the 4 he picked now, because Gastrodon was still alive here. He'd be in pretty good shape.
Gastrodon.
Yeah, that crit was really unfortunate and kind of puts it in huge favor of Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't in amazing positioning before, but definitely better.
He's got a lot more options now.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad too, because although I guess interesting to watch in that it's a very it's a team that's designed to counter Rain pretty hard here, and the Rain team is winning pretty hard.
And there's our Scizor.
Kingdra dodges the
Scizor.
snarl.
Kingdra doesn't want to be -3, but it can be -2.
Though it does lose the sub immediately there, so a snarl miss actually doesn't matter at all. It's kind of interesting to see Aaron subbing away here, given that he is already -2, but guess he's wasting Ferrothorn's time, if nothing else, to let Scissor try and set up here.
Yeah, I feel like that's what Aaron's planning on doing here.
Don't want to say this one's over, but hard to imagine a way out of this, especially given the type of Ferrothorn it is. If it was a more defensive Leech Seed set, I would be less willing to count him out, but
Well, even without a Swords Dance, I'm sure that Scissor can take out the Raikou with a Bullet Punch. So the only thing left to worry about is the Volcarona in the back.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kingdra take it out too, just so Raikou doesn't have to worry about taking the free Thunderbolt damage.
Yeah, I feel like Kingdra's going to be taking out the Raikou, and then Scizor getting a Swords Dance to try to do something to that Ferrothorn and save the gem for the Volcarona coming in.
Yeah, what's kind of too bad for Aaron's opponent here too is that even at -2, Muddy Water probably kills Raikou from there, so he can afford to use it if he's not afraid of the miss and pop Volcarona if it tries to get cheeky and switch into a Meteor.
That's probably the best move, just to ensure, like, if he is going to Swords Dance, to ensure that he's not going to have immediate trouble dealing with Volcarona should it switch in.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. The only thing about doing that is that he's sacrificing Kingdra if it gets targeted here, who he might want to keep alive to help deal with Volcarona. So, I mean, I might switch it. I might have actually switched it at last turn, I guess, if I was Aaron to reset the special attack.
Yeah, his opponent here could get, silly and switch in Volcarona for free somewhere. And, he's got to take risks like that to get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, the window here is small, but I mean, if he does find ways to get free turns, could try and battle himself back in it a little bit. I mean, Aaron is he still has the advantage of where he put Aaron before, where he's minus special attack in both of his Pokemon. That one of them's not a special attacker anymore, and he does do that Volcarona switch I mentioned before, and he does get the Meteor. So this is why I mentioned the thing about Muddy Water. But it still does a lot. I mean,
I'm curious about these EV spreads that his opponent's running here.
I'm curious if he has EVs.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an option here because his attacks aren't doing much and he's taking a lot.
Kingdra dodges the Power Whip, so apparently no accuracy EVs either. That's just too bad for him. Like, I think he's played this game pretty well, but the RNG does not want to work with him. Of course, I guess at least now he has -4 Kingdra in, who's even less effective, though. I mean, I'm
I
sure
feel like
Muddy
he
Water.
has to switch him out now just to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Although, I mean, if he doesn't protect Volcarona, Muddy Water Bullet Punch probably kills from here. If Aaron wants to risk getting burned again. But yeah, I would probably get it out of there. Pretty easy turn to do so too, because it's not a threat of much happening the other way. Like Scissors +2, so you can always just protect it and get another aggressive turn in with something else.
Yeah, Aaron's got a plethora of options here.
He has a smorgasbord of options.
I mean, the other thing too is if he does anticipate a double attack on Volk with Muddy Water and Bullet Punch to get rid of it, I mean, he could bring Raikou in to try and reduce the Bullet Punch damage on Volk the next turn by wasting the gem, but Aaron does take the free protect here instead.
No switch. Oh, Surf.
Aaron does not believe in missing. That still does just gobs of damage. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. -4 and then did close to 60% there.
Like, I feel like I know my Kingdra calcs pretty well from playing Rain so much, and that seems really high.
Yeah, because Kingdra, I never know bases, but I always know like the max stats for level 50. So I know the highest I can get to is like 161 with Modest. But even with that, or Timid at -2, even with a Life Orb, with the Rain, it's
So, looks like we're closer to the end than the beginning of this one. Though technically 3-3 for now.
I feel like Aaron has this wrapped up.
So you can pretty safely just fire Bullet Punches into that left slot there, and anytime it's not protected, it'll get the kill. Although, I mean, he doesn't have awesome ways to do damage to Ferrothorn still. Kind of a last hope here.
I feel like he could
with
definitely
+2,
wear it down.
yeah, Bug Bite's still going to do a lot. Especially because we saw how much Earthquake was doing it before with split damage. And so long as, should he attack Volcarona with Scissors, as long as he doesn't get burned, he can probably take out that Ferrothorn in 2 turns.
I'm still curious what exactly this Ferrothorn is.
Yeah,
we've only
I would
seen
like to know an item.
Gyro Ball, maybe Power Whip. I don't think we've seen the Power Whip.
Yeah, we have.
It used
Missed.
Power Whip earlier.
Okay, so 2 attacking moves and protect. So I don't know that
It's gotta
fourth
have
move.
Leech Seed. I don't think I've seen a Ferrothorn without Leech Seed.
It's got Iron Head. That's my prediction.
Ew.
No need for Leech Seed.
It's got Gravity.
This Hidden Power Grass 57.
Got Hidden Power Steel.
You need that special attack.
Got HP Fire for Scissor.
Let's go burn. Come on, burn.
Let's see it burn. Yeah, it feels like Aaron's kind of wrapped this up now.
Yeah, well, we tried our hardest there, but no burn.
There's our mystery fourth move, which Scissor immediately dodges.
He just can't catch a break this game. Like, there's the critical hit, -1, Grass Knot, dodges Leech Seed, dodges Power Whip. Like, Aaron's Pokemon have been training in the Matrix here and just dodging attacks left and right.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
opponent just can't win here. Unfortunate for him.
That is the only word, is unfortunate, because he wasn't at all misplaying really in either game. But the RNG does not discriminate.
Now, Aaron always seems to be fortunate with his team. Remember thinking this the last time we were watching him in the Invitational too. These Pokemon, man, they just know how to do it.
It's because he uses shiny Scissor. It's so ugly, no one wants to get near it.
Yeah, I wish Aaron would stop using that thing.
It's so gross.
I think number one, the worst looking shiny in the entire game.
Especially when you have, Red Corvette Scizor as the natural version.
Yeah, it's like, how can I make this beautiful Pokemon worse? Let's, rust and urinate on it. I don't understand. But anyways, Aaron does take this series 2-0 with the forfeit there. Well played by him, even with the RNG helping him there. He played a team that had a lot of great anti-rain options and came out 2-0, so no matter how that happens, hard to fault him there. I think we're going on to Hui's match next, which hopefully will be soon here. I have to give credit to the Wi-Fi there. Other than the very beginning of Game 1 there, we get 3 games in a row without a disconnect. Or 2 games in a row, which is 1 less than 3.
I'm applauding Wi-Fi for letting us get through that.
Thanks, Wi-Fi.
So nice of you, Wi-Fi.